Imagine the world in the 12th century, a world divided, torn by wars between Crusaders and Muslims. Cities were captured, people lived in fear, and betrayal was common among rulers. In this chaos, a young boy was born in Mosul. His name was Noor ad-Din Zangi. Unlike many princes of his time, Noor ad-Din was not raised in luxury, but in discipline, faith, and struggle. Little did the world know that this boy would grow into a just and powerful ruler who would unite Muslims, defeat Crusaders, and pave the way for Salahuddin Ayubi. This is where his story begins. Noor ad-Din Zangi was born in February 1118 CE in Mosul, in what is now northern Iraq. His father, Imad ad-Din Zangi, was already an important figure, a strong military governor and loyal servant to the Seljuk Sultan. Imad ad-Din was known for his discipline and fearless approach in both war and politics. Noor ad-Din's early childhood was shaped by his father's towering personality. Unlike the sons of other rulers who grew up spoiled in palaces, Noor ad-Din's upbringing was simple. His father insisted he learn the Quran, Islamic law, and the teachings of great scholars. He was trained in horseback riding, archery, swordsmanship, and strategy from an early age. His mother was deeply religious and encouraged his devotion to prayer and humility. Mosul was a city of constant tension. Crusader raids from the west and rival Muslim princes fighting each other created an environment of uncertainty. Noor ad-Din grew up watching soldiers march out for battles and return with scars, and sometimes not return at all. These early experiences shaped his understanding of the world. Life was fragile, justice was rare, and unity was needed. From childhood, Noor ad-Din showed qualities of patience, wisdom, and strong faith. He was known for his serious nature, humility, and calmness. While other boys chased games, Noor ad-Din chased knowledge and discipline. By his teenage years, he had already earned the respect of scholars and commanders who noticed his intelligence and self-control. Growing up under Imad ad-Din Zangi was not easy. His father was both feared and respected. He ruled with a firm hand, punishing betrayal and rewarding loyalty. Noor ad-Din saw firsthand how power could be both a blessing and a curse. Imad ad-Din was often away on military campaigns. During those times, Noor ad-Din learned responsibility early, managing local affairs and observing the struggles of ordinary citizens. He realized that rulers had a duty not only to expand lands, but also to bring justice and stability to the people. One of the hardest lessons came from witnessing his father's political world. Muslim rulers of the time were divided, each chasing personal ambition rather than unity. Imad ad-Din was constantly fighting rival emirs while also battling Crusader forces. Noor ad-Din watched closely, learning strategy, but also realizing that disunity was the greatest weakness of the Muslim world. When he was still young, Noor ad-Din experienced the pain of betrayal. Cities his father trusted sometimes turned against him. Allies could quickly become enemies. From this, Noor ad-Din learned to value loyalty, trust, and honesty as priceless qualities. By his late teens, Noor ad-Din had become a skilled horseman and soldier. He rode alongside his father's generals, not just as a privileged prince, but as a disciplined warrior. Unlike other nobles, he avoided arrogance and focused on service. These traits made him stand out early in life. Imad ad-Din Zangi was a commander who never stopped fighting. He believed the Crusaders were a constant threat, and that Muslim lands had to be united under strong leadership. He fought not only in Mosul, but also expanded his influence to Aleppo and beyond. During these campaigns, young Noor ad-Din often accompanied his father. He did not always lead, but he observed everything: how the army was organized, how strategies were made, and how discipline was enforced. He learned how crucial it was to maintain morale, keep supplies steady, and treat soldiers fairly. In one of his earliest battles, Noor ad-Din rode alongside his father against Crusader forces near Aleppo. Though he was not the main commander, he showed courage and calmness under pressure. His ability to remain composed impressed both soldiers and generals. These first battlefield experiences taught him not just the art of war, but also the importance of patience and timing. Witnessing his father's victories and defeats, Noor ad-Din realized that wars were not won by strength alone. They required intelligence, discipline, and faith. This shaped his future approach as a leader who valued careful planning over reckless action. In 1146 CE, tragedy struck. Imad ad-Din Zangi was assassinated in his camp near Kalajabar by his own servant. This shocking betrayal shook the Muslim world. Suddenly, Nur ad-Din and his brothers were left without their powerful father. At this time, Nur ad-Din was only 28 years old. Many doubted he could hold power in Aleppo. Rivals expected the Zangid dynasty to collapse after Imad ad-Din's death. But Nur ad-Din was not an ordinary young man. He stepped into leadership with confidence, determination, and a clear vision. Instead of panicking, Nur ad-Din quickly secured Aleppo. He reassured the people, strengthened the defenses, and maintained order. His calmness and faith earned him immediate respect. Unlike many rulers who turned to fear or brutality, Nur ad-Din ruled with justice. He positioned himself as a leader who cared for both soldiers and citizens. The assassination of his father was a painful lesson. It reminded him that power could vanish in a single moment, and that betrayal often came from within. This event hardened his resolve. From now on, Nur ad-Din was determined not only to defend his family's legacy, but also to fulfill his father's vision of uniting Muslims and resisting the Crusaders. As ruler of Aleppo, Nur ad-Din faced enormous challenges. His father had left him a strong base, but enemies surrounded him. The Crusader states in Antioch and Edessa watched closely, hoping to exploit his youth and inexperience. Rival Muslim rulers also waited for a chance to take Aleppo, but Nur ad-Din surprised them all. Instead of falling into disarray, Aleppo became stronger. He ruled with fairness, justice, and deep faith. He established Sharia courts, supported scholars, and built mosques and schools. The people began to see him not just as a warrior, but as a man of piety and justice. One of his first major victories came when he defended Aleppo from Crusader attacks. His leadership inspired confidence, and soldiers rallied to his cause. This marked the beginning of his reputation as both a strong defender and a just ruler. By the late 1140s, Nur ad-Din had already proven himself worthy of his father's legacy. But his ambitions were not small. He aimed not just to survive, but to unite Syria, challenge the Crusaders, and build a state based on justice and faith. This was only the beginning of his legendary journey. Nur ad-Din Zangi's final days were filled with both pain and dignity. In early May 1174, while preparing for another campaign, he was struck with a sudden illness. Most historians say it was a severe fever that quickly worsened. Despite his weakness, he continued to lead prayers, meet scholars, and give orders to his generals. His companions noticed that he rarely spoke of himself. Instead, he spoke of God, justice, and the unity of Muslims. On the 15th of May, 1174, in the city of Damascus, Nur ad-Din quietly passed away in his bed. His face, witnesses said, appeared calm, as though he had gone to meet his Lord in peace. The moment news spread, the city was drowned in sorrow. Markets closed, soldiers wept, and scholars mourned a ruler unlike any other. His funeral drew thousands, filling the streets of Damascus. People cried not just for the loss of a king, but for a man who had lived humbly, fought bravely, and ruled with fairness. Nur ad-Din was buried in Damascus, leaving behind a legacy so strong that it paved the way for Salahuddin Ayubi to fulfill the dream of liberating Jerusalem.